Hello, Desert Edge. DETV At Home Edition begins right now. Coming up on today's show, we will have some new information regarding graduation. And of course, we will be showing you how to make a favorite Japanese dish. Good morning, Desert Edge. I'm Caio Carlos. As we all continue to stay home, the district and school administrations are working hard behind the scenes. Graduation has become a hot topic during the school shutdown. Graduation is the culmination of 4 years in high school and for many is a highly anticipated event. But the current closure of schools across the state has put graduation in jeopardy. The Algoferia Union High School District understands the importance of graduation celebration and has been in talks with their site vendor at the Cardinal Stadium and are considering a graduation date of July 2nd. This date has not been set in stone. It is only speculative and could change at any time. This date was given by district to help families with availability and ongoing planning. The district will keep everyone updated via email. Now it's time to have a conversation with an interesting person from the district or school. Let's see who Andrew Caldwell is talking with today. Andrew?
Before we start, I would like to thank Axel Fall for joining me today on the show. Axel, how's your day going?
My day has been so far so good. I'm able to manage my time after doing the assignments, and I've dedicated my time to do multiple activities that I wasn't able to do before.
So the first question I have for you is in regard to Cheddars. Are you allowed to speak about them on the show?
Of course, I'm more than allowed to speak about it.
Okay. I know that they recently had to let you go during the outbreak of the virus,
Yes.
Apologies for that. I feel really bad for you having to lose your job. Do you plan on working for them again in the future?
I am more than excited to work back again with them. And in fact, I was not fired due to it. I am suspended. But recently, my managers told me to apply for unemployment since technically I am unemployed. But we're planning on reopen back soon. We don't know for sure when, but when we do, we're going to come back stronger, better than before, and still serving quality food, handmade, and providing with those crispy croissants and stuff from the inside.
The next question I have is, what was it like working there during the start of the virus? Like when it first started to come out and start to spread in the US?
It was notorious the amount of people that started to not go to the restaurant. There were only two bussers, which are the ones that are in charge of cleaning the tables. Among them, it was me. I was working a 6 hour shift. And almost all the restaurant was empty.
The final question I have is, how do I apply for a job at Cheddar's once they get up and running again?
Once we reopen, of course, all the ones that were working previously are going to get back in work. And one way that you can apply is by going to our official website and scroll down to where it says careers.
Thank you so much, Axel, for coming onto the show. I really appreciate it, and I wish you luck for getting your next job.
Of course, anytime.
With DETV at home, I am Andrew Caldwell. Back to you guys at home.
Our news anchor Celeste Olivas has been checking the news feeds for the latest stories. What have you found, Celeste?
Thanks guys, I've been doing my best to find the latest national and international stories. Today we have protests, a new COVID-19 test, relaxed restrictions in Spain, and a heartwarming fundraising story on the world news docket. Let's get started. Protesters gathered at the Michigan Capitol on Wednesday, arguing the governor's executive orders have gone too far. Several groups participated in the protest, including auto workers for Trump and the Michigan Conservative Coalition. Protesters were told to stay in their cars, honk their horns, and display signs. The point of the protest was to gridlock Lansing over the governor's decisions.
My daughter and son-in-law are small business owners, and it's just killing them. There's a way you could go about it with common sense.
I think making noise is a good thing because they'll see that we're serious about this, and working is essential. It's essential to feed your family. I'm not getting unemployment right now. I'm a server at a brewery, and I had to go get a job at Meijer, and it's about a third of what I make normally. And I have bills to pay, and I want to keep my credit good, and this affects, I know if this is affecting my family, it's affecting thousands and millions of other families.
Rutgers University says healthcare workers could soon have access to another test for the coronavirus. The university announced the FDA has approved a test developed in one of its labs that uses the saliva of patients to analyze for the virus. Rutgers says the FDA granted emergency use authorization to its lab, the first such approval granted by the agency. Exactly 1 month since the Spanish government declared a national state of emergency, non-essential workers are back on the job. Some 300,000 non-essential workers were estimated to have gone back to work on Monday. One of the most notable of these industries is, of course, construction. Construction projects across Spain had been at standstill for weeks. Some union leaders questioned the government's decision, citing potential health risks, but given that Spain was able to record its first fall in active coronavirus cases on Tuesday, Spain may finally be able to see the light at the end of this crisis. And now for a happy story, a 99-year-old war veteran in England has raised more than $15 million for the UK's National Health Service by whacking 100 lengths of his garden. Tom Moore is from Yorkshire in northern England. Moore started his garden fundraiser on April 8th, as he was initially hoping to raise just $1,200, funds for staff, volunteers, and patients affected by the coronavirus crisis. Moore is turning 100 later this month. He served in the British Army during World War II. Local soldiers gave Moore a guard of honor as he completed the final lap across his garden. That's all for me. Back to you.
Thanks, Celeste. Online learning is certainly difficult for students, but the shift to distance learning has been challenging to teachers as well. Our DE teachers have been getting creative, and for the students in the film and TV program, video projects still continue. The students in the program were asked last week to make a montage of their morning routines. The DETV producers looked them over and chose this one as their favorite.
What time is it? Bro, 2? Bro. I gotta do my hair. Wait. Why is there no bell word? It's 2:20. What's today? Today's Wednesday, bruh.
Be sure to check out our YouTube channel DETV Now for more montage projects and to watch past episodes of DETV at home.
Today we look back to April 14, 1865 with the assassination of famous President Abraham Lincoln. In 1865, President Abraham Lincoln was murdered while watching a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. The assassin's name was John Wilkes Booth, and was a Confederate sympathizer and fairly famous actor. To put it in perspective, it would have been like Keanu Reeves shooting President Donald Trump while watching Sonic the Hedgehog. With the Union victory in the Civil War, a lot of Confederates were bitter and saw Lincoln as a symbol of oppression. John chose to take matters into his own hands and killed President Lincoln after his escape. He would be found by Union cavalry and killed. This horrible event sent ripples through history that still affect the world as we know it today. And it's very possible that African Americans would have gotten their rights a lot faster had Lincoln been able to finish his second term. That's it for me. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Vaughn. Here at DETV, we are doing our best to help all the DE students out there stay entertained during this quarantine. And Hayden Ramos is staying busy playing video games. Today he reviews a game with a strange twist on the mystery genre.
Quarantine can make a person really want to escape. What better place to escape than the land of fairy tales? The Wolf Among Us follows a big bad wolf as he discovers a murder in Fabletown, a town filled with characters from our favorite childhood fairy tales. The Wolf Among Us was released in 2013 by Telltale Games and is based off the graphic novel by Bill Willingham. The gameplay is very similar to The Walking Dead, RAMEN, and other popular titles. The big bad wolf follows clues throughout Fabletown to discover who murdered a young girl. The gritty film noir style game set in the world of fairy tales got an 83 out of 100 on Metacritic and PC Gamer and an 8 out of 10 in GameSpot. Personally, I love the story, so be sure to check it out. The Wolf Among Us on your favorite game system. For DETV, I'm Hayden Ramos.
Sports are on hiatus during lockdown, and I've really been craving some basketball and some cartoons. So my pick for today's review is the classic sci-fi sports cartoon Space Jam. Michael Jordan teams up with everybody's favorite Looney Tunes characters in the 1996 classic. The movie is packed full of the best 1990s actors and athletes, including Bill Murray and Patrick Ewing. Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes team join up to defeat the monsters and save the Looney Tunes from little space aliens. Space Jam can be streamed on Netflix for those with a subscription, or it can be purchased on YouTube, Vudu, Google Play, and iTunes, and Amazon Video for $3.99. I'll be back next week with another movie to try to keep quarantine a little bit more entertaining. For DETV, I'm Michael Giles.
Thanks for that, Michael. That is one of my favorite throwback movies, and Bradley Downs is cooking one of my favorite throwback dishes. In fact, this dish that originated in China but is synonymous with Japan. Ramen noodles made their way to Japan in 1859 and are one of the most popular food items during this crisis. Bradley Downs shows us how to take this popular item and spice it up a bit.
Hello and welcome to the third episode of my cooking show. Today on this episode, we'll be learning how to make some ramen noodles. The first and most important ingredient is ramen noodles. Next ingredient are a few eggs, soy sauce, and lastly, basil. And now that you know your ingredients, make sure you have 2 pots, 1 lid, and something to move your noodles with. For the first step, you're going to want to fill in 1 pot with water and go ahead and put a few eggs in. After that, put the lid on and then go to the stove. And then once you get to the stove, go ahead and set the heat to high, and once it starts to boil, set a timer for 7 to 8 minutes. And now that the eggs are boiling, we set a timer for 7 minutes. And once the timer is up, turn off the heat, take off the lid, and take your pot to a strainer over the sink. And pour the water out. Gently take the eggs out and leave them to cool. For the next step, get your other pot and put it over the stove and wait for it to boil. And once it starts to boil, you can go ahead and put your noodles in it and then set a timer for 3 minutes. And as you're cooking, make sure to stir around the noodles and make sure all of them are cooking evenly. And then once the timer's up, you can go ahead and turn off the heat and transfer it to a different bowl. And now that we're done cooking, we only have a few more steps to do. So we're gonna take our hard-boiled eggs. I already peeled them, so all we have to do is cut them in half. And then I don't like the yolk, so I'm just gonna take that out of all of them. Once that is done, we can take our chicken packet. Go ahead and put it in. Then take some soy sauce. Meant to do that. Put a few drops in, then get a little bit of basil. Depending on how much you want in there, it's all up to you. And then we can stir it. Go ahead and take the eggs, pop them in there. And after that final step, that wraps up my guide on how to make ramen noodles. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
That does it for today. Until next time, I'm Caillou Carlos.